Before we actually start up OpenVAS and perform some scans, I do want to go over a couple of small issues that I've noticed. The one thing that I have noticed, and this has been consistent with my searches on the web, is that when you start up OpenVAS with the OpenVAS start script, many times the manager will come back with an error. Doesn't mean the manager isn't working. More than likely the manager is working, and you can verify that by doing an etcd and doing OpenVAS manager status. So it shows it's running, and what I have found through my searching and on trial and error is that if you just wait a few minutes and restart the service, that error more than likely will go away. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. I had originally thought that it may be an issue with, the CAs, the certificates that we had created. And so what I did is I went into var log messages, whoops, not OpenVAS, and then in here, and then you could actually check the manager right here. So OpenVAS MD, so OpenVAS. And you can see it's coming back with some authentication configuration not found. So I went and looked around a couple of places, but nothing I changed, including permissions and reissuing the certificates, really changed the error message. Like I said, it's not a big deal. I mean, the manager seems to be up, but if that is bothering you, the one thing, besides patiently waiting and trying to restart it, which we can do right now, it's been a minute or two, so let's go ahead and see if that'll take care of it. I'll try it and see if that will do it. Many times if you start it up again, okay, and it comes back, so we can try stopping it. Let's try that, and now let's start it again. Let's see what happens. See if that makes any difference. Okay, as you notice, now it works. The one thing that has consistently worked was actually editing the timeout in the manager script. So there is a timeout variable in here for 5 seconds, and somebody on one of the forums said change it to 10, and that stops the error message from actually showing up. So if you don't want to see that error message, you can do this. Press that, come down here, and change that 5 to a 10, because it's being used when it's shutting it down and when it's starting up the process. That particular timeout variable is being used. So extending it slightly seems to solve the problems. I mean, I have not had the manager come back and fail once I've done that, so that's great. All right, well, let's go check to see if there's any other things that we want to look at. And we'll do an OpenVAS, check, setup. And once again, the last couple of videos, we've walked through most of this, but there probably are some things we may want to change. For instance, we do get some warnings about checking NBTs is not enabled. I can show you how to do that. Nothing in there, nothing in there. Password, once again, if you're concerned about multiple people having passwords or access to this and you want to make sure their passwords are fairly complex, you can set that there too. Not super worried about that one. And then we do get this message about the manager is only listening on the local interface, and it suggests it should listen on all interfaces. And then also with the Greenbone Security Assistant, same thing, comes back and says, you know what, it should listen on all interfaces. And that's good in case you do want to remotely access this machine from someplace else. So let's go and solve the couple of problems that we see here. First, we'll take care of the NBT signatures so that they are enabled, and then we'll set the manager and the Greenbone Assistant both to all interfaces. All right, so the first one, the NBT. Where we need to set that is in a file, vi etc OpenVAS. Now in here, you should see a OpenVAS scanner daemon in here. That's what you need to edit. Now, if you don't see the file in there, that means it hasn't been created by default, and you need to actually create it yourself. vi OpenVAS, and it is ssd.conf. That's the name of the file that we want. And then what we'll do is add one line. So the nozzles, that's what they call the NBT, No signature check equals no, so it is going to activate the signature check, and that should take care of that one. Excellent. Next, what we'll do is we'll go and edit the Greenbone Assistant, and we can find that file that we need to edit in etc default, in this case Greenbone Security Assistant. This is one where you can go and change some of the parameters. This is also another place where you may be able to go into and change some of the parameters as far as OpenVAS's configurations go. And what we want to do is change this to all interfaces. And the reason I would do this is because this is a DHCP enabled device, meaning its IP address could change. So if I gave it the proper IP address, which I know is this, that's great, but if that IP address changes, I won't be able to access the machine. So the easiest way to do it is tell OpenVAS to listen on all interfaces with the 0.0.0.0 IP address. Excellent, so change that, and then we're going to do the OpenVAS manager, and the same thing. We're going to find that line, and we'll get rid of that and make it 0.0.0. All right, so next thing, of course, we want to do is restart the service. We'll stop it and then restart it, and then we'll just verify that those things have been taken care of. All right, so let's start it up. Start up everybody again, and then we'll run the check and see if those things have been taken care of, and we can also look at netstat to see what interfaces OpenVAS is listening on. All right, so OpenVAS is back up, so let's go check. Let's do a netstat-ntlp, and we'll grep for 93 here, and sure enough, now we see that both the manager, we can see it's the manager right there, and the Greenbone Assistant right here are all listening on any IP address that's associated with this machine. The other ones are listening on the loopbacks. We can change it if we felt it's necessary, not necessary right now. All right, so let's run OpenVAS check, clear the screen, and let's see if we have resolved the problems. Yeah, it looks like OpenVAS, as far as the Greenbone Assistant and the manager are concerned, everything's working fine with that now, and we're no longer getting the error message about the signatures on the NBTs. So the only thing that we still have here that we may want to tweak, possibly, is the password policy. Once again, only if you need that. And if we should have some problems with Nmap, the newer version of Nmap, we want to deprecate it back to an older version, we can do that too. But we're going to play with it as it is. All right, so that's a little introduction to fixing a couple of the issues that happen with OpenVAS. Next, we'll actually start up the Greenbone Assistant and play around with it.